Okay, so I've just played the intro there where I was trying to play this lick again that I improvised on the PV5150 video. I had a few people reach out and say, could you break down that lick? Or, you know, I dug that alternate picking lick. So that's what I'll do here. And this lick, basically every Monday I talk about some sort of lick on this channel or a concept or something like that. I try to sort of do something vaguely educational, so hopefully it's useful to one or two people. Anyway, so this lick essentially comes straight out of the John Petrucci kind of way of thinking or way of playing alternate picking stuff. And one of the key things that he does is these sextuplet runs, or, you know, triplets, sextuplets, 6 notes per beat, and alternate picked but organised in such a way that you could do them kind of anywhere within the 3 note per string kind of system. So if you're not aware of what that might look like, essentially you've got 7 shapes of the major scale. And sometimes those get conflated with modes, but you know, you can think about that philosophically for yourself. Anyway, so I'm using this, we're in C major for this, or A minor, and I'm using the kind of 7th, where I start on this B of the C, so kind of like the 7th 3 note per string shape. And midway through we'll kind of switch, but the pattern slowly will go something like this. Something like that. So what we're doing, 6 notes on that string, and then we jump and then back up. And you'll notice essentially what we're trying to do with this alternate picking stuff is organise stuff neatly so that we can kind of transition from string to string, and it generally needs to be a little bit uniform for alternate picking stuff to work at very fast tempos. So you end up with this, so and we're jumping into the next kind of shapes. So we're going to repeat this same thing up an octave, starting on the B on the D string at the 9th fret. So you get like a little jump there, so that you can get that octave. Naturally we might start on the A if we were following the whole shape up the fretboard, down the strings, but we're going to jump up to here. So that's the same thing, just repeated up an octave. Then we get to that A there on the B string at the 10th fret. And it's the same idea, but we're going to kind of dismount onto the G with an upstroke, I think we're finishing on. Now, I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing this with a tone as clean as this. Generally, I find I like to use a little bit of gain, sort of close to what you might actually be playing the solo with. The reason being that you can then hear whether you're kind of muting things properly or whether you've actually got, you know, strings ringing out and all that sort of stuff. So that's what you're trying to avoid if you want it to sound kind of clean. You want to kind of be picking quite evenly and syncing up the hands quite nicely. And, you know, enough gain where you've kind of got any evenness going on, and also the neck pickup works really well for this kind of stuff. Now, I would have practiced lots of this sort of stuff when I was a teenager, And the sort of thing that I might have done would be to just move it through the whole kind of scale. So that was it starting from the G. Here's it starting from the A. And then starting from the B, that's the original. Starting from the C. Etc. So I'll tab that out for you all together. The thing that I find difficult when improvising this sort of stuff, it kind of feels fine whilst you're playing the lick. The dismount to me is the more difficult thing. So maybe experiment with doing these kind of slowly. And like there, I kind of fudged the ending of it because it's, I don't know, some sort of anticipation thing or not really knowing how it's going to end. So you could experiment with kind of writing your own endings to these licks so that you've got a few different ways to end them, where it's not a surprise and you're not just kind of fluffing your way out of the lick like I'm doing there. I mean, that worked quite well. So no need to go on any longer with this, I guess, but we're strictly alternate picking. You'll notice that you're going to be starting with a down here. And it's quite nicely, neatly kind of organised so that each time you even change strings, so even that. That's where you're reaching up to the string above. Every time that will be a downstroke, so you're doing like inside picking, I guess that would be. And the idiosyncrasies of the like 3-note per string patterns are what make this a little bit tricky, because for me at least I find that some of the shapes are a little bit less easy to kind of negotiate, because you get little inconsistencies. You use your pinky more in some of them, and you have like little gaps, and maybe just take down little bits of the lick, like. And you know, just take smaller sections of it and work on those. Hopefully that's vaguely interesting and helps to process what it was that I was doing in that lick, if you were interested at all. But yeah, out of the John Petrucci playbook and organising these alternate picking lines that kind of fit neatly into the 3-note per string boxes, that's essentially what I used to practice a lot when I was a kid, and that's where those alternate picking things come from. So that's what I would practice, just take that kind of shape and move it through the whole major scale, and then maybe think about moving through other keys as well. Hopefully that was vaguely interesting, and feel free to like and subscribe if that's the sort of thing that you want to see on YouTube, because that's basically what I do on the channel. I'll catch you in another video soon. Cheers!